My youngest brother, 22, was caught sleeping with my middle brother's 23, partner 22, and I'm 27, the only one who knows they're still at it. Guys, fasten your seatbelts. We'll refer to the eldest brother as Steve and the middle brother as Bob. Gertrude will be the name of the ex. I'm come to you because I'm at a loss on what to do. Maybe I simply want to get it off my chest. All I know is that I don't have anybody I feel comfortable talking to about it with. Steve is a bit of a jerk, but he was our jerk. He lacks genuine connections and relationships, and he has a reputation for being judgmental and impolite. Yet he is attractive, humorous, and bright, and he always stands up for his brothers. He also seems gloomy and makes a lot of jokes about suicide. That might simply be a military tendency, but it troubles me in this setting. Bob is a reserve in the Canadian military, and he has been on his first deployment outside of the nation for a few months. He is also attractive, intellectual, and amusing. Yet he is a social butterfly with many close friends. He's been with Gertrude for about a decade, and although they had some tough periods, they look to want to settle down from the outside. Steve, Bob, and I had a great friendship. To cut a long tale short, we spent a few years as children apart from our parents, which helped us become quite close. I just left a long-term relationship and have been living in an apartment with Steve for the last 3 weeks. Bob returned from vacation 2 weeks ago, and we were all presented with Steve being accused of sleeping with Gertrude while he was gone. Even though a close friend was accusing and had observed the treachery, it took us all along to accept it, myself last of all. Steve denied it until evidence was presented, and even then he said he was under the influence and did not recall anything. Bob, a family-oriented person, sets aside his anger and forgives Steve, knowing he'll be back on deployment in a week and not wanting to go without attempting to mend his connection with Steve. He breaks up with Gertrude, but forgives her and accepts their story about their being very intoxicated. He abandons their flat and buries the hatchet. I admired how he handled the absolute betrayal, so I attempted to accept his desires when he stated he wanted to put it behind him and go on. The thing is, I'm friends with one of Gertrude's pals, and I found out this week that she's been telling her Steve and her have been fighting like animals the whole time, and they're still fighting. Nobody else is aware. Steve has been going on weekend-long camping excursions since Bob returned to complete his deployment, 3 months to go, but I chanced to come across his vehicle during one of these trips while apartment seeking. It was parked in the driveway of Gertrude and Bob. It verified that Steve is a lot more full of than I had previously thought. I am still living with Steve. He seems to be attempting to reconnect with both me and Bob. Perhaps he is. He's previously told me that he has abandonment problems that he's working on, and that if he lost his brothers, he'd definitely kill himself. I'm caught between sympathy and rage at someone who, on the one hand, acts as if he loves us and has no one else, and on the other, shoves a dagger in Bob's back. If I tell Bob about this, I'm afraid he'll do something dumb. He's in a risky situation and has always been the most emotional of the three of us. I also have a feeling that if I confront and burn out Steve's falsehoods, the little could do something dumb as well, particularly because he is alone and his only connections are with us and presumably Gertrude. I'm enraged, yet he's still my little brother, and I'm scared because his behavior screams depression and self-loathing. I'm tired of dealing with this nonsense. I'm upset over losing the friendship and trust I had with Steve, and I don't see a way out of this without one of them being shattered and dangerously emotional. I'm not sure I can simply ignore it, but it may be the best option. Bob is doing better and has buried the hatchet. Maybe I should, or maybe I should simply face Steve privately, but what good would that do? I feel like this is rot that will fester if I don't say something about it. Steve certainly needs to sort out his priorities, and maybe get counseling for his contradictory narcissistic and self-hating tendencies. What would you do if you were in my situation? Story 2. Wife cheated twice, but can only remember once. A year ago, I, 36 male, married the love of my life, 33 female. We've been together for almost 10 years and have lately decided to start having children. However, after some trial and error, we decided to postpone until after New Year's, December celebrations. This is exactly what happened to me. We both leave early and reach home at the same moment by coincidence. We decide to go on a trek before supper since it's pleasant and early in the day. But a shower would be good first. She had a shower first, and when I got out of the shower, she was still nude in bed. We had passionate and enjoyable and didn't even make the run because of pillow conversation. We eat supper and then snuggle on the sofa with a blanket close to one another. She is a huge lover of various TV series that I dislike, so I'm sitting with a laptop and Netflix open at the same time. She is texting her buddies while watching TV. We're always like this, but after a nice afternoon, we're sitting particularly close to one another. She is unaware, however, that now that my episode is over, I can readily view her smartphone screen and see what she is typing. I saw my name in her messages, as well as the phrase, "she is feeling so bad." I can't recall the first time, she says, but the second time was my fault. I received some information, but I'm not sure what's going on, but something is incorrect. At the same moment as she locks her phone, I shut my laptop. She comes to a complete stop, like a deer caught in headlights. If I inquire as to whether she wants to share something with me, she responds, "No." No, she responds when asked whether anything occurred. Because we are sat close to one another, I don't know whether she realized I was listening in on her phone call. No. Couldn't you at the very least tell a white lie? No, no, and no, they say. I got to my feet and walked out of the room. Normally, she would raise her voice in opposition to it during an argument, but she didn't even budge an inch. After a 15-minute walk and 3 cigarettes, she hasn't called or texted me, so I know she's telling the truth. This is a blatant departure from her normal behavior. As I get home, she welcomes me with a smile on her face. I walk back to the kitchen and retrieve another bottle of whiskey from the red bottle she was now consuming before returning. She lifts her wine glass, and I pour her a good, great glass of wine, followed by a good, wonderful sip of whiskey. She smiles and raises her glass again. The flicker of hope in her eyes disappears as she realizes that I do, in fact, know who she is. She told the story from beginning to end. The first instance occurred at a party at our home, during which I was forced to depart due to a family emergency and stay overnight. There was a new peculiar companion who stayed late, even after the rest of the group had left for the night. She had been beaten and said she had no recollection of anything other than what had transpired. The second occasion occurred the following Tuesday evening. She says she was confused by what had transpired and wanted to speak with him at his place of residence. She lied to me about having a girlfriend meet up with her that night, and then she departed. And then it seemed to happen once more. And she was too responsible since she had made the decision to go there. Which, to be honest, I'm not sure I understand. She subsequently ended the relationship, and she is in a terrible state of mind, doesn't want me to go, and is really depressed, among other things. Even if the talk continued after that, the gist of it remained the same. We had spent the previous night apart, and I had asked her to find another place to stay while I thought things over, which she has done as I write this morning. Please accept my apologies for the wall of text that has been created for anybody who is still reading this. This is most likely just some therapeutic writing for me at this point. Everything is completely up to you. I just wanted to get it off my chest and into paper. I'm going to take my time determining what I'm going to do, and then see where things lead me from there.